Now we're back.
We're back with the United States Championship.
Sorry, we got distracted by the cornhole.
Not sure where we lost you. We were engaging in some highly educational legal conversation.
That's right.
I'm wearing contacts for the first time in a month, so
so you
got to
took,
go with the
dropping
reading glasses.
Like bringing them back up.
I heard they just come out with some new contacts that you can get if you have
Tried them.
something like that.
Didn't work.
You
Could not find. So my optometrist is doing some research on them. You have to give up a little bit to gain. So they have like two alternating like focal points or prescriptions in the lens. So they alternate, and somehow your eye's supposed to adjust. So we don't know if we got too much over.
You don't get good far sight. You don't get good near sight.
Yeah, you compromise basically.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she tried me to. She tried to do something where I had one lens that was long, one lens that was short.
I've seen people try that before.
And all I could figure out was I can't see well at all.
He kept winking at us.
I'm
all
like
week. We were
always
like,
going like, am I looking far? Am I looking short?
Laser surgery?
And then I couldn't get my reading glass. No, I couldn't put myself through that.
Oh.
Well, it's kind of cost prohibitive, but so it looks like maybe reset. I can't. Nope, there it goes. So I'm waiting for it to reset here. I mean, we're here, but we're still waiting for people to catch up where we dropped.
Perea with CCSK Law.
Now we asked. So go back to last year's video when Isaac and I were here. We asked them how to pronounce it.
Then they said,
and if somebody go back and find it. Go look through our old videos when we were at Perea last time.
You want to scroll back through all of them that we've done.
I want you to watch it, and I want you to let me know. And we'll give you.
Oh, you're
the
best. You're the best.
Well, let's ask a professional.
All right, here we go.
Are we Perea or Perea?
Perea.
Perea.
I just ruined it. Maybe.
Okay, contest is off.
All right.
Can I go get some drinks?
I'm actually good with water, but I really need an order of the Saganaki.
Yeah,
Will you say Opa if you bring it out?
Absolutely. Yeah, if I don't bring it out, whoever does, they will.
They got to say Opa.
Awesome.
Right.
Is that one where like, okay, they're gonna go out and say Opa? I'm gonna go there.
So we're live on Facebook right now. So you want to say hey?
Say hey.
Hello.
Wait, lean.
Oh wait.
Oh, I'm on the wrong screen.
Yep.
You may be in there. Yep, there you are.
All right.
So we brought in the reserves for help here tonight because we were out the other.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Feel free to come on down, visit, see the wonderful home.
Yep.
So now, Lindsay found us back again, like
On the
again.
bright side, because we disconnected and reconnected, we get an extra boost to people saying we're live.
Hey,
yeah,
we're
live.
Gotta look at the bright
That wasn't
side.
a purposeful
sounds good. Great.
strategy.
Still, okay. So, crazy thing about the internet, you have it, and then it's gone. Don't understand it, but we were there, and then it wasn't.
I blame it.
So we're blaming who? Xfinity. Well, they were the ones that I think bailed.
Yeah.
So now we're going. The magic of data on a phone is able to pump us up. So we're there with that, and we were having a in-depth conversation about the movie Dodgeball.
The tips from Dodgeball.
So the one thing I was going to mention though, when we were talking about what we were talking about prior, which was people kind of get ping-ponged about this by the system. There was an interesting line that probably most people missed in the president's introduction of his Supreme Court nomination when he referenced that he will, what was the exact, however he said it, but he used the term equal access to justice, which is like this marquee, quite literally, marquee statement that is emblazoned on the Supreme Court building. I don't know what they call that building, the Hall of Justice. I don't think that's what they call it. But anyway, where the Supreme Court meets, that is one of the big monikers on the side, equal access for all, and justice. I mean, there's several things, but he quoted one of them. One of them was the name of my research paper in law school. So it's just.
Are we getting to the animal farm stage though, where it's like equal access to justice for all, except more for some?
Some people have more. Some animals have more rights than others.
Yep.
Yeah. No, we have. Yeah, I think we are there actually.
Well,
based on some of the insideriness of the elections that we learned about.
But I'll also bring that more to a practical level and say that we have a small claims court, and then we have, the higher, more superior court, called the superior court, or circuit courts, or district courts. But small claims here in like Porter County and the local county, $6,000 is the limit on that. Versus
in our county.
In our county?
It's different in other
It's
counties.
different in other counties. Marion
Well,
County,
Marion County's the
8,000.
big one. They're the only one I think that I know of that actually has a higher limit.
Now,
Yeah,
tier
that's the
two,
only one I know, but I don't know the other one.
which the small claims court is more friendly towards those with, without attorneys.
Most people can go themselves. Yeah,
Most
I mean,
people
most of
can.
you just go in there and you
In
fill out
fact,
the form.
you're
you get the-
encouraged
You're
to do it yourself in small
Unless you're a
claims.
business.
Well,
Then you have to have
some businesses
representation.
have to have representation
Right.
in some counties.
If it's over
1,500,
1,500.
Yep.
If the claim's over 1,500.
But when you're talking about several $100s, that can be a lot to somebody
Absolutely.
in their situation. But when you talk about bringing attorneys in, if we're, I'm $175 an hour on a lot of these things. I try to flat fee as much as possible.
Aha, crab cakes.
Oh, crab cakes. Here we go.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I almost missed the plate.
Whoa.
All over.
Almost missed the plate.
Look at the
I would
sauce
have
on that
taken
thing.
you to small
Hold on,
claims court
hold on,
for my
hold on.
damages.
I gotta try to put this up on the camera.
Hang on. I can't see where it is. Yep.
Good view of that.
Don't dump it.
Oh,
You
wow.
can tilt it
I
though.
tilted just a little. Hey, look at this. Whoops.
That'd be
Look how great it is.
I
sad
didn't
cakes.
Dip, duck, dive, and
Sad
dodge
cakes.
correctly.
Oh, RG said cakes now.
Sad cakes.
That's such a presentation. My goodness.
But sometimes it'll cost you several $1,000s to get your several $1,000s.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. That's why that's a time when somebody should try to do it on their own and
Right. And
see
we
what
try
they
to be
can.
conscientious of that. We try
We
to
try to
think
direct
about
Yeah.
what the best thing is for you, which isn't always what you want to hear, though, unfortunately. But when you're talking about access to court, yeah, technically you can go argue about some of these things. But if they have an attorney
Oh
and
no,
you
there goes
don't,
my water. Oh
and
no,
you
my
gotta-
backpack.
oh no, you
Technical
talk about
difficulties.
getting an
It's
attorney,
been a little dry. Just
You
gonna
have to
water
walk
the
in there.
concrete.
you're going to have trouble with facing that court and getting that several $1,000s sometimes. So it can be a real struggle when you talk about access to court and having enough, money to really compensate that.
Right.
Other times people want to go after it for principle of it. Where if you're accepting that, you're charging a whole bunch of money, we're really just the attorneys win in that instance.
Yeah.
But
Y'all can have some of this too. I don't have to eat it all.
But
But
it's interesting. I was up in Chicago last night. I had a buddy that was up there for a business meeting, and he lives down in Georgia, and so I was able to run up and. Oh, Lindsay's disappointed in Comcast. It's called Xfinity now, Lindsay. They're not Comcast. I don't know. I'm just making.
Huh.
So we were talking, and he had another employee of this company that was with them, and we were talking about the equal access to the law thing came up because we had mentioned. Oh, there you go. Yeah, make sure I get my voice in here.
that muffled voice was Kurt.
We were talking about how, like in Europe, the European standard is that if you bring a court case in, you lose, you got to pay the other side's attorney's fees.
Right.
And how that can work. And,
Which is sometimes the case here.
which is sometimes the case here on occasion, but that was it prompted a very good conversation into, well, why don't we just do that for everybody? That would make sense, right? But the problem is then you run into where you have real close issues and you start to restrict access to the law for people that might be too fearful of incurring a cost, but they have an issue that's genuine to bring.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think we have a very good balanced way of doing it here where some things you can get reimbursement for attorney's fees, some
Right.
things you can't. So
3 major times that you'll usually get attorney's fees. One is that you had a contract that said if you go to court and you lose, you got to pay the prevailing party's attorney's fees. That's
true.
That's classic in a lot of contracts. I put
That's
it in a lot of-
classic.
Classic.
Classic law.
Now,
That's classic
I'm
contract.
just a small town
Kind of
pizza
pizza
lawyer,
lawyer.
but it's all perfectly legal.
I'm going to try just a little bite of
So-
this. I've never had them here. They look fantastic.
Contracts
They're
are
good.
the first. Statute is another one. Sometimes Indiana says, you know what? If you go to court over this, you can get damages, including attorney's fees.
And sometimes they'll trump up the attorney's fees.
And they will. Sometimes they'll.
I can give you an example. A denial of a valid power of attorney, you can sue for harm plus 3 times attorney's fees.
What is a denial?
3
of
times harm. 3 times harm plus attorney's fees.
treble
Right.
damages?
So treble damages.
Right. So what would
Well,
be harm?
Treble means
I have a valid power of attorney. I go to the bank to exercise it. And what I'm trying to do is transfer money from one account to another because otherwise something's going to bounce and something's not going to get paid. I'm going to get fees charged, all that different stuff. They deny the power of attorney, completely valid power of attorney, but just because their own policy or someone has a bad day, they deny it.
that never happened. Yeah,
Ugh.
right.
And so now my electricity gets shut off. I'm going to have to pay to get it hooked up.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to pay the penalty. There's a bounce check, so I'm going to have to pay that. The bank's going to charge me a fee for that. So, I mean, you may quickly run up several $100s. Now take that times 3.
Yep.
Now it's at,
Plus
let's say 9 plus 1,000
Yeah.
plus attorney's fees. It's an attempt to dissuade someone from doing something that they don't have the authority to do.
Right.
Doesn't mean they won't, and it also doesn't mean that the person who gets denied knows that.
That's probably one of the biggest.
That's the
things.
problem. People don't know to
They don't
bring
know
the
it.
action.
Right.
So now you just get frustrated. You blame the attorney because they wrote a bad power of attorney.
Which they didn't.
That's
necessarily
not
do.
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
The burden is on the other person. It's such a high bar that the denying entity has to know that the power of attorney is invalid.
Wow.
It's not like, we think this is too old, and so
Yeah.
therefore we're not going to accept it. It is, you have to know that this has been invalidated or revoked
Right.
before you
Yeah.
can deny it. And they're protected on the other side,
Right.
which means to say, if you accepted a power of attorney on its face and it was invalid and somebody used it improperly, that
That's on them.
entity's not going to be held responsible,
Yeah.
and they can come back and hold
Right.
it against the other party. So
It's amazing with how much you run into some certain, shall they not be named, Chase Banks.
right.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It
Oh,
rhymes with
It's just-
chase.
No, they're a good bank.
they
Don't get me
may
wrong.
be.
But you know they're real strict on that. They're real
Yeah.
tough on that,
They-
on
they-
accepting things.
They have some
They have their own
complicated
policies.
bureaucratic
Yeah.
regulations.
Can I just say these crab cakes are amazing?
I know. You better keep eating, or I'm going to eat them all.
No,
And I intend to.
I don't want to eat more because I don't want to steal your food because I think I was just like,
No, go ahead. I can. There's always more.
That's true.
Oh, there's flaming
I'll
cheese
get
over
one
there.
more.
We're going to see that soon.
Saganaki.
the Saganaki is amazing too.
So
This is
so
fantastic.
my challenge with Chase is they speak like what their policy is the law.
Right.
And there is a huge difference between an internal bank policy and the law.
Yeah.
A customer doesn't know that, and they're going to put their trust in their bank,
Sure.
their financial
Right.
person, their doctor
Sure.
to know what's right and what's legit. And they don't. They don't adequately represent their client.
I'm gonna jump in on like my 5 criteria that I judge banks on, but before that, I want to at least say the third way that you can get attorney's fees is if somebody else sues you and it's a frivolous lawsuit.
Sure.
A lot of times
Yeah.
people bring claims and you're thinking, why am I having to pay an attorney to defend this ridiculous claim? Well, turns out you can actually have the court demand that they pay your attorney's fees. But let's hope that they have the money to pay
I
your
was gonna
attorney's
say,
fees.
The next question is, how do you get that money? And that can be a whole
Exactly.
process in itself.
Sometimes you're squeezing water out of it.
And that
Right.
is sometimes one of the challenges of small claims as well.
Yeah.
So now you have a judgment.
Yep.
How
What
do
are you going to
enforce the
do with
judgment?
it?
Right.
Though, as we've learned, it's pretty easy to attach judgments to property.
You
Very,
can.
very easy.
Way too
Actually,
easy.
in Indiana, judgment automatically attaches to any property in the county. And
Whatever property
Yeah.
in that county, you can
Way.
right to.
Yeah.
It may have nothing to do with the property, but
So you
that
might
doesn't
not
stop
know
it
it,
from
but if you got a
attaching.
judgment for something
Judgment
completely
liens.
random from years ago, it may attach to your property that you have that you're getting ready to sell, and you might not even think about it.
Right. And you may not know it until somebody runs a title search, and lo and behold,
Wait a
you've
minute.
got 2/3 of the value of the home suddenly tied up in judgment liens.
So I
Wow.
love my number. So those are like the 3 ways that you can get attorney's fees. There's more ways, but those are like the most
The 3
common
main
ones. But yeah, my top 5 criteria to judge a bank. But first,
Oh,
we have
All right.
we have an OPA moment.
we have
here
an
coming.
aha moment here. We have something that's going to be on fire, legally so.
Opa.
Ah, how about that?
All right, we should get a view of that in the camera here.
Don't catch the camera on
Yeah,
fire.
yeah.
There it is. Flaming
There it
cheese.
is. Oh, good.
There we go. Awesome.
There we go.
Perfect.
Something you're going to want to come down and try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that put it out?
It does. The lemon puts it out.
Mm-hmm. It's so zesty, the fire can't even handle it.
It's the cheese is fighting back.
Out here with
The
wind, it's
flaming.
so
Right? It's trying to, right?
Our poor server is like running like
Look at it.
crazy, and she's got flaming
There we
cheese
go.
now.
Like, I'm
Cooking
trying to
her
get
from
this
the
cheese
outside.
Got it.
out. There we
She
go.
did
There
it.
it goes.
All right.
She did it. They're experts here
Excellent.
at putting out
We'll
flaming cheese.
Push this out of the way over
Yep.
here.
There you go. Enjoy.
Try to read
Fantastic.
things.
Grazie. That's not the right word, but anyway, it's in that European continent language world.
There we go.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So flaming cheese.
flaming cheese. Yeah, you got to get down here and try some of this stuff. It's fantastic and a great atmosphere and a great outside.
So in case you're joining us late, we did have an interruption. This is part 2 of our broadcast tonight. We've learned they're darn good crab cakes, which I already knew.
Yep, they're amazing.
We love flaming cheese.
We've learned that
There are
flaming cheese is
criteria you should think about when you choose a bank.
good. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yep.
And you can't spell sausage without USA.
No, you can't spell sausage without USA.
How in my entire life have I not noticed that?
Were you looking for it though? Are you looking for
But
things that you can put
It's
USA?
not like it's spaced out. It is
That
US.
is amazing.
No, it is.
Sorry.
It's USGA. I guess there is a space. USGA, right?
No.
Sausage. It is straight.
It is straight. USA.
I'm like trying to
all
spell
together.
it. Like this why it could never
USA.
be in the spelling bee.
Like, can I use a piece of paper?
Sage.
That's right.
That's right. Doggone. Oh,
So-
what's that?
It looks good.
Man, why?
It looks good.
What's going on here?
That is a
Some
meal.
darn good looking food. So we're at Perea. We are
Too much
Which we
good
know how to
looking food
pronounce now.
right at the corner of Valparaiso. No, I'm sorry, right at the corner of Indiana and Franklin.
Perea.
I said
Yeah.
Perea.
You
Yes,
did say
Perea.
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 We had a whole thing about
Perea.
this.
And
And Perea, you get a seat. Because
yeah,
the
there you
food's
go.
great.
It's quite crowded out here.
Yeah,
We're outside. They've got this big shaded outdoor seating area. The temperature tonight's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it is.
It has
great
been
out here.
so nice.
I'll tell you what,
Sun's
where
behind the
the
building.
sun's at right now, with that being behind the building like that, it's amazing.
Oh yeah, there's nice. It's not a breeze, but we finally got a reprieve from the 90s and the humidity. It's a beautiful night to be outside. So I'm sure there's a lot of downtown dining places that are quite busy tonight. We were fortunate enough to wedge ourselves into a corner here, and the servers have been accommodating, and
That's right.
it's been quite good. So, again, the other thing we talked about is what we were working on a big writing project in the office. Some of my cohorts, myself and Ashley and Kirsten today, and one of the things that we were talking about similarly to some of the issues with banks and some of the issues with just understanding what you need to know. You got to talk to somebody. I got a call from a gentleman today. His father passed away this weekend, kind of out of the blue. I'll take one. And so we were in the conversation. We're talking through some of the things he needs to know.
Yeah.
Been in that position, got the call, ended up in Houston. You just react. You're just reacting.
Yeah.
And he said to me at some point in the phone conversation, look, I'm not even really sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just kind of overwhelmed by this whole process. And I said, I absolutely know where you're coming from. And a lot of what I tell people to do is just, slow down, let some things come. We can talk a couple of times. I'll repeat myself as necessary. There are things you need to do more immediately, and there's things you don't need to do.
Yeah.
I will say one of the things I said explicitly, do not be generous with your address and phone number to creditors
No.
because you have no responsibility at this point as an individual. We don't even know if there's going to be probate, honestly, at this point. They're going to want to know. They're going to want to have all this information. So just, breathe easy as much as you can.
Deal with the family stuff first.
Yeah.
Deal with the life stuff first.
You got to
Other
get
stuff
through this
will-
funeral process. There's other family coming into town.
Yeah.
I explained to him some of the things just sort of topically based on his circumstances that he needed to be aware of. But I said at the end of the day, we're going to have this conversation again.
Yeah.
And about half to 3/4 of it's going to be the exact same thing. And I don't have a problem with that. I just want you to know what you need to do and what you don't need to do.
Yeah.
And if we need to wait till we have everybody together, we can do that too.
And it stems back to that overall conversation that we keep having again and again. And we're not trying to beat a dead horse. We're trying to get this out there that we consider our job to help you work through these processes in as simplified manner as possible.
Right.
To just try to take some of that heat off, that stress.
Right.
Yep.
That
So it
confusion.
doesn't become as hot as Saganaki.
Not flaming hot Saganaki. That's right.
We are the lemon
We
on
are
your
the
Saganaki.
lemon. Your
to your
Saganaki.
Saganaki. Put the fire out.
On your
Go for
Saganaki
it.
legal issue.
It
That's
sounds like
right.
it should be like an alcohol or something, doesn't it?
Saganaki.
Saganaki
Well,
isn't?
Sake.
Well, I think it's sake, yeah.
But it,
It could be.
yeah. But they have other types of alcohol that are fantastic.
It's great.
We got an Oberon.
Is
Right.
is it really sake that's on the cheese?
No, I know.
No,
They put some sort of alcohol in it that they flame. They
Yeah, right. Okay. I thought you were saying
I don't know.
that's what it
is.
was.
No, but
like,
Yeah.
wait, isn't that a
don't know
different
if you-
country?
I was gonna say that's a different. That's a different.
Yeah.
A different
yeah,
issue there.
completely different country. That's far more.
I've not ever tried to light sake on fire. Will
Oh,
sake
me
Hey,
neither.
Heather joined us. It's my half sister.
Oh,
Hey,
She joined us.
so I was gonna say like
Matt Dooley
Oh,
added
Matt
in
on
by
it?
operation of law.
Operation of law.
I don't
That's
know.
right.
On the getting your attorney's fees.
Oh, there you go.
Conversation.
Operation of law. That was your other reason to get
The statutory. Yeah.
Matt Dooley, who will eventually join us at one of these events.
He's gonna start very soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He said
So-
he's gonna be
Yeah.
very shortly gonna be trying to hit a few of these on this.
Been doing some work with us recently. We're happy to have him on
yeah.
part of the team. Our
Oh, counsel?
our cohort in Elkhart area was over with us today. Ashley Collier, who's practicing over in out of her office in Napanee.
Yep.
So
Neat
we're
little town. If you ever get a chance to go over there.
she's in a cool old building that's been converted into a variety of stores and offices. I love that when
Nice.
people do that. You rock. Thank you. So that's kind of where we are. It's neat to. I think you had that experience at least a couple times today. Just kind of helping people through a process.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with a gentleman who went to see another attorney. Had called me to say, "Oh, I'm meeting with another attorney," and then called back 3 days later and say, "Hey, can I meet with you?" And kind of we
That
talked through
happens.
some stuff today. And
Yeah.
again, very complicated situation. He's kind of in a secondary position, doesn't have control, but is losing ground on some things with some property because mother passed away.
Yeah.
So put together a game plan. He's going to take it back to his sister and talk through some options. Ran up to Caring Hearts, had a conversation with some people there, ran back down here.
It has been a busy day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was
I
about
didn't-
1 o'clock. I realized nobody in the office had eaten lunch.
I know, thank-
So I come in- I
thank
come in
goodness
the room,
Kurt
like,
came to the
"Hey,
rescue."
You guys haven't eaten yet, have you?
We're like
No?
buried in the
It's,
back room
It's
and
like, all right, we're
Yep.
getting some food.
we're
because
doing some
we all need to eat.
freaky fast food. So that was awesome. Thank you for that, Kurt. And,
Yeah, no, you're welcome. We're all
taking
Always
care of
looking
each
out.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We look out for that stuff.
like, man, why am I so hungry? And I was like, oh, it's
Oh,
1
it's
o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Well, and Ashley's on the wrong time zone. She's on another
No,
time
2
zone,
o'clock
so it's
her
like
time.
2 o'clock her
Yeah.
time.
My goodness.
So yeah, it's we're not that I would waste away, but you need to have
I
that
got
energy.
reserves.
I know I'm not gonna ever like collapse, but you do start to get a little
Oh, Matt
unfocused and stuff.
Matt
And
says he can't wait to be over here and wants some Saganaki.
Saganaki,
Oh yeah.
we'll have to come back.
But we'll definitely have to
No, not like this.
There you
We should do this every night.
go. The weather,
It's like
the way the weather is
perfect.
right
Oh,
now.
my word.
Are you kidding me?
We're gonna have a couple of days of this at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
We're
thanks.
kinda past our
That's
time,
You join us
so
later. If you got a question, feel free to
Busy
float it
is
out
awesome,
there.
Lindsay. That's right. Busy is
Or visit our website, ccSKlaw.com.
Right.
Feel free to check us out.
And
219-230-3600 if you have questions.
Give
We're
us a
happy to
call.
talk with you.
there's a form right on the website. You can float
Thank you.
a question to us if you want. You can put a question in the
Reply back to this.
comment box here, and we'll get an answer back out to you.
I will
Um,
apologize to Lindsay on air live because
Uh-oh.
I didn't ask her if she wanted lunch because I thought she was leaving, and then she ended up sticking around for 20 minutes because she was doing extra work for you because you
Isaac is
buried
the-
her work and she
I'm
had to go
pretty
to-
awful.
Isaac is
And
making
I
people.
felt horrible, and
He's
she
that-
made me feel horrible.
He's that boss.
I am the
Yeah.
worst boss.
Yeah.
I am pretty harsh.
You
know.
work her real hard, and I don't even
No.
get her lunch when everybody else is getting lunch. I
We were
felt
so
terrible.
mean. We were so mean. We gotta
We
really
are.
watch that.
Yeah,
You know
we
what?
gotta
We're
get
gonna
her
make up
lunch next
for it
time.
with
Yeah.
the margarita machine.
Oh,
It's on
I
us,
love the
but we'll get
margarita
that.
machine idea. There you go.
Anyway, we're CCSK Law here
Sorta.
at Brea.
Where are we gonna be next week?
Kind of long. Where are we next week? Lindsay.
Lindsay, where are we next week? She
She is our
Oh,
executive
shit.
producer and scheduler of all
That's
things.
right. She
Yeah.
called up.
Tips from the bar.
She called up every location and got
You'll-
approval before we
you'll
went there
have
to
to-
make sure that we were scheduled into all these places.
You'll-
She did an amazing job with it.
You'll have to tune in and find out next week.
Yeah.
On
Oh, that's
Tips
right.
from the Bar.
Well, we'll be
We'll-
right here. I mean, like same bat time, same bat channel,
That's right.
sort of thing on Facebook.
You know where to find us.
Yeah. So we'll at least be minimum here. We are
Sure.
She was just saying sure to some of the things we were talking about there.
Isaac the Czar.
Isaac.
This-
Isaac, it's close. Czar car. You know.
That's very
Isaac
close.
Czar.
Isaac Czar. Still a C.
Oh, wow. I like
Still
that.
fits in
I
the-
actually like that nickname. That's not bad. I mean,
The law czar.
the laws are.
Remember when
Whoa.
like our presidents were making everything all things czarish?
All right, we got to get that web address.
Isaac the Czar.
Isaac
Isaac the Lazar.
Isaac Lazar.
I'm sorry, Lindsay.
That's
Did you hear a
what
question?
we
Where are
do.
we next week? I actually know it's on
I
our
don't think she
calendar.
knows. Yeah, it's on the calendar somewhere.
It is, and we'll publish it beforehand too. We'll
Oh,
make
yeah.
sure that we get a
We'll try to promote
something
it.
out there.
And you're always welcome to
Clancy's. She said
Clancy's.
in Portage.
I think
We're
it
on the
is.
road.
We're going.
We're
We're
doing
on,
it.
on the road bar tour here.
That's
Clancy's.
right.
Where's Clancy's in Portage?
I have no idea.
You're welcome.
She goes, welcome, pun intended.
Pun intended.
Um,
I'm not sure, but that's what we're going to help everybody find out next week.
I know it's in Portage.
Yeah, we'll post the exact information about it. I've already had a couple friends be like, "You're going to Clancy's?" They were so excited we were coming
Really?
out. So
Well,
we actually
come on out and
will
join
stop
us.
by. Yeah.
I don't know what they serve. What are they?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's an
we're
Irish.
gonna
It's like it's an Irish pub, isn't it?
Oh, I think so.
Oh,
Very much
here we
so.
go.
Speaking of Irish accent the whole time.
What was that?
I
He
guarantee.
is somewhat of an actor.
Oh no!
Oh, come
You're like
on.
my daughter with trying to do accent.
All right, well, get her on
Which
the
is-
show then.
No. She,
No.
She has the same sound for Clancy's Irish Pub, Portage, Portage.
Irish.
Portage.
pub. That's right.
Actually,
The Irish
interestingly, I was in Portage today. It would have been.
That'd been a good day to do
It
it.
would have been
Good
a good
day to
day. It would have been a good day.
Oh, stop.
I'm, telling you,
I'm
it's gonna be
looking
the whole
for
time.
like even an address.
Sorry, you'd be an Irish
Portage
or a
Mall.
leprechaun?
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
more
say.
of a like a get me Lucky Charm.
Right.
That's way more high pitched. No, you got to be comfortable with the accent.
Oh, you gotta be relaxed.
Yes, you got to be relaxed.
Are you
with
like
it.
like preparing for the British Open this weekend?
That's
Is that-
right.
No,
That's
the
right.
Irish and
Rory?
British don't like each other.
That's right.
But it is like it's in Scotland though this year
Scots.
because it's in Carnoustie.
Don't be me on my
That's
Scots
like- that's like-
accent.
Northern Britain.
It looks like it is.
They're Scots, their own country. Don't
They are,
don't
I
do that.
can't even tell you where this is.
Let me see.
It is
It's right off of.
north of McDonald's, next to the toll road.
Yeah,
I mean, like, you can't get there
Pretty
from
close to the
the
corner of Central
Kind
and
of by,
Willow Creek,
yeah.
but a little farther back.
It's there.
So it's like right there, but it's,
But it's
not.
not there.
It's by there.
That's right.
Well, we'll find out.
We'll-
Everybody
we'll drop-
next week for
Google
sure.
it. We'll be
show you.
there. We may
Yeah.
all be trying to find it together.
That's
That's
right.
right.
I've heard of the place. I mean, I've heard of it. I just not been there. I'm looking forward to.
I think if it's where I think I've actually been there. It's just been a long time. I think a buddy had a birthday party there.
It's yeah. So yeah. Okay. I think yeah.
We'll see.
That's right.
Clancy's Irish Pub.
So,
Oh no, I'm
All right, well,
worried
we
now
will
all of a
see.
sudden about
no, right?
having
Yeah,
an Isaac's
it's gonna be there.
accent.
Yeah. Well,
He might get in a fight over there if he starts putting on his thick accent.
oh,
We'll see.
fisticuffs. That's what we're up to
Fisticuffs.
here.
There you
I'm gonna
go.
get me a Guinness and do
All
some
right,
fisticuffs.
so I'll be missing next
Bangers
week.
and
Yeah,
mash.
exactly. We're
It's
gonna
just
leave.
gonna be me on the camera
Wait.
with my Irish accent.
Right,
Oh
right.
my!
What, there was CCSK
Do
Law.
Irish do bangers and mash? I thought
No,
that was
that's
English.
British, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't get bangers and mash?
No.
Yes.
Irish stew. Is that Irish
Irish
stew?
sausage
Maybe
and potatoes.
Shepherd's pie.
shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie. Bangers and mash. It's all Irish.
Oh my!
Shepherd's pie's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Very
awesome.
much so.
So anyway,
Anyway, thanks for joining
we are at
us.
Thank you for
CCSK Law's Tips from the Bar. Join us next Tuesday from Clancy's in some
Fancy.
Town,
some
Northern Florida.
accent.
That's right. We'll each
Filled.
have an
It'll
accent.
be
show.
interesting.
No, I will have my Central Indiana accent
There you go.
full effect.
Small town pizza world.
All right. All right,
Small
have a
town
good night,
pizza.
everybody. We'll appreciate you
see you.
watching. We do appreciate you watching.
We do.
Of course.